50 Cent had time today, and when 50 has time, somebody's getting roasted. This time, the target was Joe Budden and the cause. Budden seemingly tried to ride the Ja Rule wave by entertaining what turned out to be fake paperwork. And if there's one thing 50 Cent doesn't play about, it's paperwork. Especially when it gets used to push a narrative, question someone's street credibility, or stir drama in the culture. Joe Budden poked the bear, and now he's got a Bronxboro marketing genius clowning him in front of the whole internet. It started with a post that floated around online, some sketchy-looking paperwork claiming to involve 50 Cent in some kind of questionable activity. The details weren't even solid. No credible source. No validation. Just one of those classic cloud-chasing stunts, trying to go viral by dragging a big name. But what gave this one a little more traction was the fact that Joe Budden, a known voice in hip-hop media, gave it energy. He didn't outright say 50 was guilty of anything, but he did just enough trolling to suggest he was amused, and maybe even entertained by the idea that 50 could be caught slipping. That didn't sit well with the G-Unit boss. And when 50 Cent catches wind of somebody trying to smear his name, he doesn't just respond, he destroys. What makes it worse is the fact that Joe Budden has a history of riding the fence. One day he's podcasting about unity in hip-hop. The next he's dropping slick commentary that subtly co-signs somebody's downfall. That approach might work with others, but not with 50. He's been battling since day one. Whether it was Ja Rule, Rick Ross, The Game, or even corporate execs, 50's not one to back down. He treats verbal jabs like street beef, and he fights back with meme warfare, cold facts, and straight-up humiliation. So when Budden even hinted at siding with Ja Rule, or at the very least, using Ja as a reference point to validate the fake paperwork, it was game over. You have to understand, 50 and Ja Rule don't have a regular rap beef. This is decades-deep animosity. Blood, fists, bottles, courtrooms, diss tracks, documentaries, you name it. These aren't just rappers who had a disagreement over lyrics. This is a war with history. So when Joe Budden inserted himself into that dynamic and started poking fun at 50 using the same Ja Rule energy, he crossed a line. 50 clapped back instantly. He didn't just post a meme. He dropped a whole series of online digs, each one more savage than the last. He called Joe a washed-up rapper pretending to be an intellectual. Said he only gets views when he's talking about other people's drama. Dragged his podcast as barbershop gossip with microphones. And then he went for the jugular, posting real receipts on Budden's past, from his failed rap career, to shady label deals, to viral moments where Budden looked unhinged or emotional. 50 turned the tables fast. He took control of the narrative, and in true 50 Cent fashion, made sure that nobody would take Budden's side seriously. But what made this moment even more dramatic was how it exposed something deeper in the culture. There's this trend in hip-hop media where content creators, podcasters, and YouTubers rush to cover any paperwork-related scandal without verifying if it's real. They chase clicks, views, and controversy. But that's dangerous, because in the streets and in hip-hop culture, paperwork isn't just gossip. It can put lives at risk. It can kill reputations. It can create beefs that spill into violence. And when someone with Joe Budden's platform plays into that without proof, it's not just trolling, it's reckless. 50 made that clear. He called out not just Budden, but the entire culture that lets fake paperwork circulate like it's a mixtape. He reminded everybody that when his name is attached to something, people better come with real evidence, or be ready for war. And what's crazy is how quickly the internet shifted. At first, some people were laughing with Budden. But once 50 started dropping clips, memes, and cold facts about the paperwork being fake, the mood changed. People started clowning Budden instead. They said he looked desperate, that he was trying too hard to stay relevant, that he bit off more than he could chew by messing with 50 Cent, the undefeated king of petty revenge. And let's not ignore how 50 flipped the whole situation into entertainment. That's what makes him dangerous. He's not just responding to trolls. He's monetizing their mistakes. Every time someone tries to play him, he turns it into content. He boosts his brand. He keeps his name trending, not because he's trying to drop an album, but because he is the show. It's like watching WWE, but in real life. And 50 knows how to play the villain, So well that even people who don't like him end up tuning in. Joe Budden, on the other hand, seemed a bit shaken by the backlash. He didn't fully backtrack, but his tone definitely changed. Suddenly, he was talking about context and nuance and having a conversation. But at that point, the damage was done. 50 already turned him into a punchline, and fans were posting clown emojis all over Budden's comments. That's what happens when you underestimate 50 Cent. He might be funny, he might be trolling, but he's also strategic. Every move he makes is calculated. Every post has a purpose. And when you give him ammo, especially fake ammo, you better believe he's going to return fire with a nuclear response. This whole episode also reignited the age-old 50 versus Ja Rule storyline. Ja tried to jump into the mix too, reposting some things and laughing at 50's expense. But that backfired as well, because 50 used it as an opportunity to remind everyone why Ja fell off in the first place. He reposted old clips of Ja crying in interviews, losing industry support, and flopping after the whole murdering fallout. It was a brutal reminder that while some beefs fade with time, 50 doesn't forget. He stores everything, every slight, every sneak diss, every lie, and he waits for the perfect moment to strike back. That's why this situation is bigger than just memes and Instagram posts. It shows the power of digital storytelling. It shows how hip-hop beefs have evolved from diss tracks to viral content wars. It shows that credibility still matters in the culture, even in the era of trolls and clickbait. And it shows why 50 Cent remains one of the most feared names in entertainment. Because no matter how far he climbs in Hollywood or business, he never forgets how to move like a street general with a smartphone. The irony of all this is that Joe Budden once said he respected 50's business acumen and influence. But in moments like this, respect doesn't shield you from consequences. If anything, it makes the backlash even more painful. Because 50 doesn't just come for your reputation. He goes for your legacy. He makes sure the internet remembers you for the worst moment, not your best. And for those watching from the sidelines, it's a cautionary tale. Don't play with someone who has nothing to lose in a trolling war. Don't fake paperwork. Don't co-sign beefs you're not built for. And most importantly, don't come for 50 Cent unless you've got a bulletproof game plan. And even then, be ready to get embarrassed. As for Joe Budden, he'll recover. He always does. He's been through worse. But this one stung. Not because of what was said, but because of how easy it was for 50 Cent to flip the script and make him look like a clown. It was effortless, ruthless, and oddly entertaining. Exactly how 50 likes it.